Welcome everyone to Saturday Night Satsang. And we're going to start our Satsang with Kirtan. And I'm just going to briefly explain what Kirtan is, what it is we're about to do. So Kirtan is the chanting of divine sounds or names. Throughout the ages, individuals have sought to realize the spirit within through music and sound vibration. This practice can be found in many of the world's faiths and traditions. Generations of ancient and modern yogis also developed this practice, calling it Kirtan and using the Sanskrit language. Chanting can be seen as an expression of the yearning of the devotee to commune with the divine. It can be done as a joyful song of praise or as a calling out for protection and guidance. Chanting done in a devotional manner is transformative. It lifts the emotion and fills the heart with pure joy. Kirtan is primarily a devotional practice, but there is a subtle science underlying its effectiveness. While in deep meditation, yogis in tune with the higher spiritual reality have experienced occult sounds. And in this context, occult means hidden from view or internal. Each of these sound vibrations, called mantras, correspond to a particular form or quality of the divine. By repeating these mantras to oneself or through chanting them aloud, one can experience greater health, happiness, peace, and prosperity. Chanting calms the nerves, purifies the emotions, and opens the heart. It elevates the mind, preparing one for silent mantra repetition and meditation. It is a joyful practice leading to God realization. And you don't have to take my word for it. I invite you to try a little experiment tonight. Just take a moment to check in with yourself. You can close your eyes, but you don't have to. And see how you feel right now. Where are you? How are you feeling? And then once we conclude tonight's Kirtan, we're going to sit in a moment of stillness, and I offer you to check in with yourself again and notice the changes. Okay, so we'll start with 3 opening shlokas, which you can find on page 9 of your books. Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejasve. This very first chant is a chant to Ganesh. And the reason we often open kirtans with chants to Ganesh is because he is the remover of obstacles, and he is a direct path towards Shiva, Shiva is the auspicious one, but he's formless sometimes, and it can be helpful to have a stepping stone towards that formlessness, and that's Ganesh. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Ganesha Charanam. Ganesha Charanam.
Ganesha Sharanam. Ganesha Sharanam.
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 Ganesha Sharanam. Ganesha
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Okay, cool. He says he can't hear my guitar.
That's heartbreaking. Oh well. It's really beautiful. You just have to trust me.
Sounded great.
He plays beautifully.
It was great.
In the room, but not on the live. Everybody watching at home, it's so beautiful. I wish you could be here. One more reason to come to Yogaville.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm going to do a Shiva chant. I'll quickly go over the lyrics. The first phrase is just going to be Shivaya Namaha, Shivaya Nama Om. The second one is going to be Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya, Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. The third one's going to be Aruna Chala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Do you want to use my guitar? We could switch.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. So use this microphone and my guitar. And
Great.
Sit here and bring your cushion. Okay. Do you need your phone?
I will.
Okay, I got your cord. Oh, right, you don't need your cord because you're using my guitar.
Right.
Gotcha.
All right, we got there.
It's worth the wait.
Hey, No, your guitar mic. Yeah. There you go. Towards the body, not towards the neck. There you go.
Shivaya Namaha. 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 Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Girija
Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva 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 Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Narija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva 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 Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah
Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho
Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara 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 Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya.
Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
So this next song is called I Am Light. So the call and response part is on the I Am Light. It reminds us that before any of these human labels are put on us, our origin is light. So I invite you to remember that as we sing this song. It starts with 3 ohms. shame I left behind. I am light. 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 I am light.
I am light, I am light.
I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul is alive. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light.
I am light, I am light.
I am light. I am light.
I am light, I am light.
I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am of a star, piece of it all. My soul is light. I am 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 light.
I am light, I am light.
I am light. I am light.
I am light, I am light.
I am light. I am light.
I am light, I am light.
Oh, I am light. I am light. I am
That was absolutely delightful. Thank you so much, Nick and Lee and Gurudasa, Krishna Kumari, and what's your name again? Jeremy? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Swami Sugunananda, and on behalf of Satchitananda Ashram Yogaville, I'd like to welcome you to this evening satsang. Satsang meaning a gathering of seekers of spiritual truth. And how many of you are here for the first time? Oh, that's a lot of people. Wonderful. Where did you all come from back on the back row there? From Northern Virginia? From which one? Loudoun County. Wonderful, welcome. And you here? An apple. Oh, that's even further out. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to repeat the prayers that are on the yellow prayer sheet. You're welcome to stand and join us. Auspiciousness be unto all. Perfect peace be unto all. Fullness be unto all. Prosperity be unto all. Happiness be unto all. Perfect health be unto all. May all see good in everyone. May all be free from suffering. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You may be seated. So we're going to do a couple of things this evening. First, we're going to watch a video of our Gurudev speaking on a very important subject. And then we have someone here from Canada, Dr. Satyam Penn. He's going to talk to us a little bit on meditation. And that's some of the main things we're going to do this evening. So then we'll have an Arati, and that'll be it. So first of all, our Gurudev is speaking. We just finished with a solar eclipse, and even though it was only partial in our area, okay, it still affects, and it's very important to know what to do during an eclipse and the proper way to pray. And this is what our Guru is speaking about. Also, there's going to be another eclipse toward the 20th or the 23rd of August. And this is it's going to be a lunar eclipse. And these really do affect, as we already know. So there's a proper way, things to do during the eclipse. And this is what Gurudev is talking about in the video. I think you'll enjoy it.
What is the spiritual significance of the grand time with solar eclipse? Oh, this Wednesday? And what we can do to do most benefit by it? What is the spiritual significance of the grand time with solar eclipse? Well, not only with solar, lunar also. Eclipse means the light is hidden. We always need the sunlight or the moonlight or the starlight. We do have starlights. Without that light, we cannot survive. But occasionally, the light gets hidden. It's a blockage of light. At that point, your system goes through some change because the light is not there. It's a dark night. It's a poisonous time, they say. If you want to know why or want to have a proof, particularly during the solar eclipse, just cut your finger a little. That wound will not heal at least for months. anything damaging happens to you will stay longer. Even the food, cooked food, gets contaminated by the lack of light. So during the eclipse time, we don't cook. We don't keep cooked food either. If you have to have something preserved, you put a little charcoal in the food and keep it. It absorbs the poison. If you have to have it. Otherwise, better not to have any cooked food. Even like wound in the finger, you can cause wound in the heart. I mean the mental heart, mental wound. Don't allow that to happen. Any kind of afflictions, mental, will affect you for a long time. That is the reason why during the eclipse time, spend your time in meditation, in prayer, japa, or visit a temple. And don't do anything that will hurt you physically and mentally. Normally, we do go into the river, lake, or sea, stay up to this waist level in the water, keep praying till the eclipse go away, because the water absorbs the poison. Because remember, the sunlight or the moonlight or the starlight, the light is very important for us. It should not be contaminated or covered by anything. So that is the reason why during the solar eclipse, one should spend quite time in spiritual pursuits. Then it's okay. If it is only in your area, it is visible, then it's okay. Because you have light. Otherwise, there will be always eclipse somewhere. Then you can never eat. Question is, how should we pray? Any way you want, any way you like. Because the prayer is not something that you say it. Prayer comes from the heart. God hears your prayer in any way you can. Fortunately, God knows all the languages. Even the sign language, even the baby's language, even the cows and cats' language. So don't worry about the language. Should I use only Sanskrit or only Italian? Use any language you want. The baby cries for milk. What kind of language they use? Just cry. If the mummy asks the baby, what is that language you are? Huh? I don't understand it. Huh? No. Mummy understands that. Because it comes from the heart. The heart. There's no restriction as such to approach God. Only you should have pure love. There are many, many stories to proclaim this truth. One of the Shiva devotee by name Kannappa Nayanar, he was a hunter. He went up one day, the hill, there was a temple. The place is called Kalahasti, still there in India. And he saw a priest coming and doing some puja to God, to the deity. He watched, how nice it is. I must do something like that. So he came down quickly. He found a pig. He killed it. He chopped the flesh because he saw the priest offering some nice khichdi or food. He wanted to offer something. He chopped the thing and then he said, oh, he was pouring some water over the god before he offered the food. And he put some flowers on the head. So how can I do that? He has both the hands with the meat, the pork. So he plucked some flowers and stuck on his own hair. He put some water in the mouth. See, flower in the hair, water in the mouth, and pig pork in the head. It true happened. The place is still there. He went up. He saw God. Immediately did Abhishekam, pouring water on the head, and then put the pork, put the flowers, went round and round. So happy he did the puja. Lo and behold, when he came round, he saw the pork was missing. God accepted it. God accepted it. He was so happy. But God couldn't eat all that. He ate only very little and still left behind, which, oh God, you are not hungry. Maybe you are hungry later on. I'll leave it and go. So he went. The next day he was coming up, but before he came up, the priest, as usual, came. He saw all the filth. My goodness. Meat? Who could do this? With a disturbed face, he cleaned up everything. He did his puja, and he walked back. Then this fellow came again. He did the same thing again. The third day, when the priest came, there's some mischievous fellow doing this every day. I had to catch him. So he was hiding behind. And Kannappa came up God created a miracle. From one of his eyes, God was bleeding. He put the Pope, God, who did this to you? Huh? Somebody hurt you? You're bleeding. I don't know what to do. He ran here and there, crushed some herbs and this and that and put it on the eye. Nothing helped. It was bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. All of a sudden, he remembered, yes, meat for meat, eye for eye. I have an eye. I can give you my eye. He plucked one of his eyes and applied it there. This priest was watching all this. Applied the eye, the bleeding stopped. He was so happy. He didn't bother about his losing one eye. He was so happy, jumping joy. After the excitement was over, he saw God. The other eye also bleeding. God, how can this do to you? Maybe I gave you wrong food or something? Well, don't worry. I have another eye. I know the remedy. He was about to pluck this another eye. Then all of a sudden thought came, if he plucks this eye also, he won't know where God's eye is. It's not so. So he did one thing. He stood in one foot, lift the other foot, kept it over his cheek, the bleeding eye, with his shoe still there. Now he knows where the eye should be. Keeping this, he was plucking this eye. At that point, God appeared to him. Nillu kannappa, nillu kannappa. Stop it, stop it. I admire your love. I'm all right, you are also all right. I did all this to show this man what true love is. So since that minute, God called him Kannappa. His original name was Chinnappa. Chinnappa means heavy fellow. A hunter, he was a heavy boy, so the dad named him Chinnappa. Chinnappa means bum. So when he did this, God called him Kannappa. Kannappa means the one who gives the eye. So what kind of worship is that? Pork, water from the mouth. But God enjoyed it, this service more than the priest. The holy place is still available, still there, near Tirupati, called Kalahasti. So there are many, many stories like that, which means any way you want. God is looking for not your words of learned length and thundering sound. He looks to your heart. He looks to your heart. So there's no restriction over that. Forget about all this rigorous discipline. One should do this way, that way, repeat this first and repeat that first. It's all just priest business. Otherwise, they would lose their job, no? Just know that you are the baby to God. You are crying for the milk. One another saint sang that, Aludal unne peralame. That means, I know the secret how to get you, God. If I cry, I'm sure to get you. It is the very same words used by him. If I cry, I can get you. You don't have to do anything. Just cry. That's what praying means. Pray comes from the heart. To express your love anywhere you want. But there are two different kinds of prayers. One, give me that, God. I do this, you give me that. Business prayer. Always asking for something in return. That's called business prayer. It doesn't matter. Start with business prayer. When you get it, then at least you love the God. I prayed, God gave me, I love him. I want to pray more. So that reminds me, I told Sanjay and Meera to tell you all. In San Francisco, Sanjay is steward, and Meera is steward. Meera had eye problem, and she is in agony. The other day, she didn't know what to do. She was crying over the phone. And then a prayer was organized here. Where is Pushpa? Yeah, Pushpa called me also. Can we say 108 Trayambakam? All of us join. By noon, you were praying here, 9 o'clock there. All of a sudden, she felt like throwing out, vomiting. She went into the bathroom, threw out, came back. The pain is gone. That is the power of the prayer. Your prayers never go waste. Here is the proof of the benefit of a prayer. So they called me immediately and said, I don't know what you did. The pain is gone. She's happy. Please tell everybody. That is what. Of course, probably you repeated Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Om Trayambakam. Forget about it. You sit there and say, God, please help our sweet Meera. That's Mahamrityunjaya mantra. It's not the mantra alone. It's your heart. A heartfelt prayer, not tongue-felt. I think some great man in the West said once, more things are wrought by prayer than the world dreams of. Who was that? Huh? A poet. We may not know the greatness of prayer. We don't even dream of it. But just pray, pray, pray. And particularly when you pray for others, since thousands of years, at least 10,000 years back, these great sages and saints of Himalayas, that is the prayer that we sing here, repeat here. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. We don't pray only for ourselves. We pray for everybody. May all be happy. May all find peace. It's not a good idea to pray for you. God, help me. You are included in that all. That is the reason even the other day, I think I said it, our Christian prayer. Give me my daily bread. I don't think the original person, whoever it is, must have meant that way. The translation must be wrong. At least it should be, give us our bread. It will give me my bread. Forget about the rest. Huh? Our bread. What does it say again? Give us our daily bread. I see. That's what the babies do to the mother. Mom, give me my daily milk. Even when the baby is sleeping, the mom knows it's time, feeding time. Wake up, baby, come on. Paal ninainduttum tayinum sala parindu. One of the saints sings. My mother remembers me and remembers my time to drink milk. And he wakes me up, gives me milk. I don't have to ask. So if we all want to pray, pray for everybody. Pray for everybody. Even that is a sort of asking. The best prayer is, God, let me remember you always. You are the doer. You are the deed. Let me remember that. Remove my ignorance. Remove my ignorance. Let me not forget you, God. Don't ask for anything. God knows what we need, what we deserve.
Jai Gurudev. God knows what we deserve. He knows what we need. There's a light here. It's really bright. Okay. I wanted to mention that one of the reasons I wanted to show this video also about the eclipse is because we have a wonderful group of teacher trainees that are taking the meditation teacher training, and that's some important information they may want to use in the future. Where are the teacher trainees here? Welcome to you all. Yes. We're excited for you to go out there and teach everybody how to meditate. Okay. And now we will have Dr. Satyam Penn. He's here from Canada. Dr. Penn is a seminarian in the Integral Yoga Ministry and has studied Integral Yoga since 1985. He teaches and conducts research on Sanskrit and the history of yoga and Vedanta philosophy. He teaches Sanskrit and Hindu theology at Satchidananda Ashram here in Yogaville and other yoga centers. He's a professor at the University of Toronto, where he studies spoken language processing and computational linguistics. I can't even pronounce the words, let alone talk about it. He has over 100 publications. He has led numerous research projects, including ones funded by Avaya, Bell Canada. These are some of the ones. The German Ministry for Training and Research, Smart Technologies, the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and many others. He's a past recipient of the Ontario Early Research Award and he has also worked at Bell Labs and NASA. Dr. Satyam will speak to us this evening on meditation. Please welcome him. We have water here. This one is yours on the right.
Oh, okay. Actually, my talk is on artificial intelligence and meditation. Kind of a strange choice of topics, because after all, what do these characters know about inner peace? But we're at a point now in the development of artificial intelligence where we can actually ask some conversational models that are available over the web what they think and what AI can do. So I actually asked Gemini, which is the model that Google markets, can AIs meditate? And it gave me this very humble, self-effacing answer that, oh, no, we can't meditate. We don't have subjective consciousness. We don't have awareness. We don't have minds. We don't have bodies in order to feel tension or breath. And then it concludes with a statement that, so, we can't meditate, but we can guide a meditation. And so I thought this was appropriate, given that the meditation teacher trainees are here. Perhaps you have some commercial competition for your new career. So I thought it'd be interesting, though, to dive a little bit deeper into this idea of subjective consciousness and its relationship to meditation. There are a handful of words in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra that could be translated as consciousness, but there's really only one that definitely corresponds to the same sense of consciousness that we say when we assert that AI does not have a subjective consciousness, and that is the Sanskrit word chetana. Right? And this word actually appears only once within the Yoga Sutra. It's in Book 1, Sutra 29. I think the meditation teacher trainees even covered that today. And it had, up to this point, has been referring to the practice of repeating Om, the mantra Om. And it says that as a result of that process, there arises not internal consciousness, but more arises a knowledge or an awareness of one's own internal consciousness. And so there is some credence to the idea that anything that lacked consciousness might not be able to get, at least to this point, with a meditation practice. But as you may recall, Gemini didn't say that it did not have consciousness. It said that it lacked subjective consciousness. And that leads us to Book 1, Sutra 41, which talks about the grahiter, the grahana, and the grahyeshu, the knower, the known, and the instrument or the relationship of knowing. And it says that at this level of practice, a later level of practice, the differentiation between these three things collapses. And so in some sense, perhaps it's actually an asset not to have subjectivity. But of course, for that to be true, you would at least have to have consciousness. And lo and behold, I have colleagues, even colleagues back in Toronto, who are going around claiming that, yes, AI is now conscious. And so perhaps it's, maybe Gemini is like one of those timid students in your yoga classes who shows up and says, oh, I could never meditate, my mind, can't stay still. Maybe Gemini just needs a little bit of encouragement in order to become a meditator. So what is meditation anyway? Back to the Yoga Sutra. It's actually, in this particular tradition, an extension of concentration. So this is now Book 3, Sutra 2. So first you start concentrating, and then from there something happens. And that practice transforms itself into a continuous flow of cognition onto the object of concentration. So what that implies is that we should be able to concentrate before we can meditate. And so in that case, can AIs concentrate? And I asked Gemini, do AIs concentrate? And it said, I can't answer that, which I thought was an interesting answer. So I reworded it, can AIs concentrate? And it said, well, basically no, but it can fake it. And this fake concentration is achieved by something called an attention mechanism that all of the conversational models like Gemini currently use. And then it goes on to give a description of what an attention mechanism is in very informal terms. And it gives a sentence as an example here: the dog didn't cross the street because it was too tired. And it says that with attention mechanisms, what a model does with an input sentence like that is calculate a numerical score between every pair of words in the sentence. And that score tells you how closely associated those words are with each other, or how much they attend to each other. And so it says that, in fact, the model is capable of understanding that sentence because there's a very high association between the word it and the word dog. And so, because the dog is the one who was tired, it refers to dog. And so that's a kind of attention. What that explanation doesn't say is that the last study that tried to correlate attention scores with this particular task, which in the field is called coreference resolution, was back in 2019, some time ago. And back then, it only had 65% accuracy, meaning that if you just took all the words that were paired up with it and looked at the one with the highest score and said, well, that's what it refers to, it would only be 65% accurate. And believe it or not, the reaction of my colleagues when I told them this was, well, see, that's like humans. Humans have problems concentrating. But that seems like a very disingenuous answer to me. I don't doubt that lots of humans have problems concentrating. Sometimes I'm one of them. But humans don't have such a hard time deciding that it refers to dog in that sentence. In fact, when the context is clear enough so that there's one unique word that it refers to, humans are a lot better than AI at that task. And not only that, when there is an ambiguity and it could refer to more than one word, like in a conversation you might have to ask, well, which one was tired? in that particular case, even when AI is wrong, AI has a wildly exaggerated opinion of its own confidence and will give a very high score when it gives that wrong answer. And so it's more than just not having a very good accuracy. It's not having any kind of behavior that resembles what humans are doing. And not only that, but if you could, I think it probably will work better to just keep it on the slide. If you think about the behavior of humans and AI in respect of pronouns like she and her and he and him, which have gender, they're either masculine pronouns or feminine pronouns, people don't seem to have any difference in their ability to determine what the referent of a masculine or a feminine pronoun is. They're not perfect at those, but they're the same across genders. And yet AI shows a systematic bias towards masculine pronouns. It is not quite as good at resolving feminine pronouns references. And so what's that all about? That doesn't exist within cognitive science as we know it pertaining to humans. And so attention mechanisms, apart from the name, to me, don't seem to have anything to do really with concentration. At least when I hear sentences like the dog didn't go out because it was too tired, I'm not sitting there going, ooh, what is the meaning of it, right? It's not that kind of task. And I think to some extent the same thing is going on right now with arguments about consciousness. Within the non-academic media, it's not unusual to see these kinds of sleights of hand be played when they explain what AI is doing. So we don't really understand what neural networks are doing at a fine level of detail when they behave so well at these linguistic tasks, when they work. And yet at the same time, we don't know that much about human consciousness. And so maybe they're the same. Right? That kind of obscurity is not really very convincing to a competent scientist. And what I'd like to just take you through now is a demonstration that there is, in fact, a very long tradition of people working in the sciences of the artificial, perhaps we could call them, on things that plausibly could be called artificial intelligence, who might also be called very spiritual people. So, Alan Turing, probably you've heard of him. He's the one who came up with the Turing test. There was a film about him several years ago. Turing proposed in the same journal article that had the Turing test something he called the theological objection. And the objection goes like this. God gave human beings souls, and thinking is a function of the soul. God did not give animals or machines souls, and so animals and machines can't think. And Turing says that he's providing this objection in order to argue that he, in fact, disagrees with every single part of that statement. And he begins with an impassioned plea to treat humans and animals more alike, and that, in his opinion, animals do, in fact, think. And then he makes this very interesting statement that years from now, when people look back at those of us today who doubt that a machine can think, it will be with very much the same sentiment. Probably a lot of people in 1940s Britain thought that that was the case. And in any case, it would certainly be a feeling of indignation. But apart from that, Turing was a very interesting guy all around. He is very candid about his belief in extrasensory perception and telekinesis, He is clearly somewhat well-versed in the occult sciences, although he was an avowed atheist. And as for the Turing test itself, this has been widely misunderstood. If you ask a computer scientist today how to conduct the Turing test, they'll say, okay, you get a human being who is a judge, and you lock them in a room, right? And now in this room, we bring in either a person or a computer, and we have either the person or the computer start sending text messages to that judge, and the messages can come back too. It's a two-way conversation. And after a certain number of exchanges, the judge has to decide whether the judge was talking to a person or a computer. And if, over a sufficiently high number of judges, the computer tricks the judge into thinking that the judge was talking to a person, then the computer has passed the Turing test. So, in fact, Turing's test that he proposes has 3 participants. There's still a judge, still locked in the room, but then there are 2 other participants, a man and a woman, and the judge knows that only one of them is of each gender. And now the man and the woman both have conversations with that judge, and their job is to convince the judge that they themselves are the woman. And they can have a conversation about who's the woman, or they can have a conversation about some other topic, and the judge can infer from the way they discuss it that this person must be a woman. And so Turing then proposes to replace the man with a computer. And now the computer's job in order to pass the test is to lie as convincingly as a man can, which I think is a very interesting way of thinking about intelligence and thought, particularly in view of how tragic Turing's own life was, that it should turn into an argument that goes through such a gendered lens on identity. Going back about 100 years earlier, we get to Charles Babbage. Babbage invented what I suppose today we would call an adding machine. And for those of you who are a little bit younger than me, an adding machine is basically a large pocket calculator. And for those of you who are a lot younger than me, a pocket calculator is that calculator app on your phone. Right. So Babbage created these kinds of machines because he was impressed by scientists on continental Europe who were creating very intricate mechanical simulations of natural phenomena, like birds flapping their wings or ducks leading their children around through a pond. And Babbage thought that people who come together in groups, maybe corporations or otherwise, and collaborate on a problem, they are a kind of natural phenomenon that is worthy of this sort of simulation. And so his analytic engines were proposed as a way of simulating that kind of group behavior, not the behavior of an individual, in fact. Indeed, in Babbage's time, there was a word computer, but computer was a job. It was a person who probably worked for a bank or an insurance company and would just sit there all day making calculations mathematically by hand because no one had Babbage's kinds of machines yet. And when Babbage wasn't working on that kind of technology, he was writing theological treatises. In fact, Babbage came out with a now very famous theory that the material world has the capacity to record the actions of humans in it. And because of that, Babbage offered the heretical proposition that God didn't need to be omniscient, because if God ever needed to consult what we had done, God could simply look at the material universe and read that record. This idea went on to influence the Theosophical Society, who came up with what this theory is now known as, the name for it, the Akashic record. And a member of the Theosophical Society named Taimni, he was from India, and so he knew about Akasha from his study of yoga and Sankhya philosophy. And he worked very hard to try to reconcile what Akasha meant in the sense of Sankhya and yoga and what Akasha meant in the sense of the Akashic record. I can't say he was entirely successful with that. He more or less went on the yoga and Sankhya route. But Taimni went on to write a commentary on the Yoga Sutra. In fact, that commentary was one of Swami Satchidananda's favorites because it had so much kind of esoteric mysticism in that. And Taimni, too, was a scientist by training. He was either a chemist or a chemical engineer. Going back even further now to the late 17th century, we get to Gottfried Leibniz. Leibniz was also building big, funny machines, but he wasn't interested in adding machines. He was interested in coming up with a mathematical way of recording theological propositions so that you could give them to this machine, and it would tell you whether the proposition was true or false. And this was very important to Leibniz because Leibniz was born at the end of a cataclysmic event in Europe called the 30 Years' War. And during that war, there were lots of Catholic and Protestant factions fighting each other. And so Leibniz figured that if he could build a machine that was trusted by both parties to be objective and unbiased, then they could simply put their respective arguments in there about the Virgin Mary and transubstantiation of the flesh and things like that, and then they could turn these gears, and it would come out and say true or false, and then they would say, well, that settles it then, and they wouldn't fight. So Leibniz saw these kinds of technologies as enabling world peace. That was his motivation. And Leibniz, too, was very interested in theology. In fact, there's a branch of theology called theodicy, where he coined the name of it, theodicy. That's the branch of theology that deals with how bad things could happen to good people with an all-watching God looking on. Leibniz also came up with a theory of something called monads. Monads, they're kind of like purushas in yoga, but they're also in a way kind of like atoms, and they pervade the material world. So in this particular theory, there is not a separation between what the Yoga Sutra discusses about purusha and prakriti. They're somehow unified. And this theory of his has been compared to the Hindu idea of Indra's net. So that's a net kind of like a fisherman's net. And the meditation TTs here, just a day or so ago, were studying a sort of chin lock that you do during breath retention called Jalantara. It has that name because tantric authors some time ago thought that breath retention with that particular lock would allow the aspirant to see the net manifest in the material world. So there are relations even to Leibniz. And going back earlier still, in the late 13th century, there was a Mallorcan named Ramon Lull who had these small little discs made of either paper or a light wood, and you would kind of turn them like this. And it's difficult to give a coherent account of what exactly was supposed to happen, but it's something like a cross between an astrolabe, for those of you who know what that is, and the periodic table of elements. Only we're not talking about physical elements here, we're talking about letters, namely the letters that constitute all the words in the Latin Bible. And by somehow permuting the combinations of these letters, we can determine that the propositions offered in the Bible are true. And Lull thought that this would be a great way to convert people to Christianity. So I'm going through this explanation in order to convince you that there are a number of people going way back who have had a particular kind of dedication to what plausibly could have been called artificial intelligence, with very spiritual objectives or mindsets on hand to assist them. And by the way, none of these people, not even Turing, would have used the term artificial intelligence. That wasn't coined until after Turing's death. But we are in a very different situation now. In contemporary artificial intelligence, there are massive problems with resource consumption that threaten to have a hugely negative impact on the environment. And there are currently massive ethical hazards to even using these without considering those resource problems, because the technology essentially is not yet mature enough for deployment. And some people have mentioned this, and the reply, at least according to some journalists from the CEOs in the Silicon Valley that they've interviewed, is, well, you don't have to worry about us, because the AI that we develop is going to be so smart that it's going to solve these two problems. That's the kind of self-referentiality that we're up against. Now, I have colleagues who are working on either one or both of those problems, but they're not done yet. Right? So you have a choice right now. Refrain from using it for the time being, or take both of these risks on. And this, too, this kind of somewhat paradoxical reasoning has a precedent in scholarship. It's called as-though thinking. And in as-though thinking, what they say is that they're not yet offering a scientific theory. They're offering you a contrivance, a little toy that you can play with. And if this contrivance suits your needs, then you are invited to join them on their quest. And having joined them, then they will reassure you that you needn't bother with all the people who criticize you for not having answers to the big questions, because they don't understand that we're at the beginning of the quest, not at the end of the quest. You get the answers to the scientific questions and the big kind of what-ifs at the end of the quest. And in the meantime, any positive news that comes our way will be used to galvanize the movement and move even faster towards that goal. Unless, of course, we turn out to be wrong, in which case, God help us all. Right. And you might think, well, where does as-though thinking come from? Right? Maybe the history and philosophy of science. Maybe this is how scientific revolutions generally occur. Actually, it comes from religious studies, particularly the epistles of St. Paul in the New Testament. That's kind of the defining instance of as-though thinking. Contemporary AI has the major diagnostic signs of being a messianic religious cult. Who's the scientist now? So, AI has definitely some problems that may limit us in its use. But what I've been interested to learn since coming here on this trip from some of the sannyasis is that it seems like the biggest impediment for many people in this community to embrace artificial intelligence is not actually those two things, but the name artificial intelligence. People who practice yoga have been sort of kind of conditioned over the years to pursue a natural lifestyle. They avoid artificial sweeteners. They eat natural foods. They take natural medicines. Why would you bother dabbling in artificial intelligence? To me, that's not such a compelling reason, actually. I think the first two reasons are compelling enough. But the third one makes me think about this long tradition of people who have tried to exercise some sort of spiritual insight into the material world using these kinds of artificial technologies. Is meditation actually artificial? if we're sort of wrestling with the mind's natural tendency to dissipate its concentration. Is grammar artificial? Language is natural, but grammar was written by a person. And in fact, Patanjali, in addition to writing the Yoga Sutra, also wrote a commentary on Sanskrit grammar. And then there's, sort of the woo-woo music you get when you come into a yoga studio. I mean, some of that was actually mastered through electronic means, even when it imitates the natural world, which, as we've seen, is the point of a lot of these artificial technologies. So, as a kind of moral for the meditation TTs in the audience, technophobia probably will not make you a better meditator or a better teacher. In fact, in many respects, using AI is a lot like using a book or using web search, except that the AI models that we have at our disposal now do already have the capacity to make novel statements that have never been uttered before. And for an experienced teacher, that's actually great, because you're the ones who have the ability to look at that new proposition and say, no, that doesn't seem right. It's in the students, the hands of the students, that it turns into a loaded gun, because they may not actually have the resources they need to resist the rhetorical display of this in order to think twice before accepting it as true. These are the so-called hallucinations that sometimes people talk about in AI. So what that means for you as meditation teachers is that you have to be experienced meditators to be able to give instruction in the tradition you're teaching. And that's what the course that you're in does. They build meditators who happen to know how to teach. So if you do decide to engage with these models now at the risk of the global water supply, do watch out for hallucinations, and do also watch out for problems with plagiarism, because not everything is made up and new. In fact, AI models can simply recite things that they've read into the answers that they give you. Sometimes that happens without a citation, and then if you reproduce that in material that you publish as a teacher, you could be in some trouble. So at the very least, cite the AI if you can't trace it back to the original source. And in any case, good luck with your career as a meditation teacher.
Thank you very much, Satyam. That was wonderful. Okay. For a couple of announcements before the Arati. Next Saturday, we'll be observing our Guru's Mahasamadhi. We hope you will join us. Tomorrow morning, there will be a puja in Chidambaram Temple at 8 a.m., and then there's another puja at Kailash Temple at 9 a.m. So you can choose which one you want to go to, or maybe both. Some people, they go to Chidambaram, walk up the stairs, and then come to Kailash puja. So this satsang can be seen live or recorded from anywhere in the planet on our Vimeo or YouTube pages. We will now have an Arati, which is an offering of light. The offering of light will be accompanied by the Jyoti chant, which describes the way this divine light expresses itself in the world. A small candle light is offered to, symbolizing the divine light in each of us, is offered to a larger light on stage, which represents the divine cosmic light. Finally, the little light will be offered to you, and our Vimeo streamers that are watching from home. Then you may extend your hands and draw the light toward you as a blessing. You're welcome to stand and join us in the Jyoti chant, followed by closing prayers. The Jyoti chant is back here in the yellow sheet. Om Jyoti 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 Swayam Jyoti 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 Param Jyoti 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 Arul Jyoti 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 Shivam Vama Jyoti Soma Jyoti Vana Jyoti Jnana Jyoti Maha Jyoti Yoga Jyoti Vata Jyoti Nada Jyoti Ema Jyoti Vyoma Jyoti Eru Jyoti Viru Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Jyoti Light, O light of self-effulgence, light, O light of absoluteness, light, O light of gracefulness, light, O light of auspiciousness, light of Shiva, light of moon, light divine, light of wisdom, light of heaven, light of yoga, light of wind, light of sound, light, delight, light of water, rising light, vital light, the only light, the only light. Give us light, O light of lights. You may be seated. Now, before we offer the closing prayers, I'd like to say something about the earthquake that happened in Colombia here recently, a few days ago. Many people lost their lives. Many people, they don't have their homes anymore. We have people here that lost their good friends in the earthquake. Alejandro's one of them. We'd like to offer 3 Triambaka mantras for all the people that were victims of the earthquake. So the Triambaka mantras, I don't think they're here, but if you know it, please join us. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivartanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivartanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivartanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormaham Gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishad Vahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May God protect us, grant us wisdom's fruit. May we gain energy to know the truth. May our intellects grow clear and bright. May we cherish no ill feeling toward anyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all the darkness.
Victory to that light.
Jai Sri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Stay blessed always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And if you could help us put some chairs back there.